Welcome to this program, which is the Leeston Country Fair, and it's celebrating 150 years of district called Leeston. Interesting thing is a lot of the attractions are in fact these old tractors, the Land's Bulldogs, and this would actually be typical of a New Zealander many years ago adapting two of them to make New Zealand's and probably the world's first four-wheel drive tractor.
There's no better way to see the show than from the cabin of a steam truck touring the showgrounds.
Well, it's really interesting in a situation like the Leeston Country Fair to see the old and the new. There's a big gap between the old and the new.
Yes, well, our company started in 1951. My father started after he worked for a National Harvester company as a combine specialist, and when he came out here he was selling little things like the F863 down the far end, and we would refer to those today as a mechanical hen.
Which isn't really all that sort of charitable, really, is it?
Very basic, yes. And whereas you come through into the new machine here, mostly computerised. It can tell you virtually everything. It's monitored. Yeah. So the setup's all done from the cab. And GPS, all that stuff. Yeah.
So I mean, to work on the mechanical hen as a mechanic and then to try to do something with this, when these are computer operated people?
No, because you've got diagnostic monitors that you can plug in and record some of the problems. I would suggest that the mechanical hen is probably harder to work on than one of these more modern ones.
Okay, I mean, in my lifetime, I spent time bouncing around on a combine. Well, it wasn't, it was on a header, sewing bags, and now look.
Yeah. That's the bit up in that cab is the best place to be in any summer's day.
Air conditioned.
Fully air conditioned. Yeah.
What about your tractors, though? I mean, they've come a hell of a long way as well.
Oh, so they have. Tractors have actually come a huge way, and we're looking. The next 10 years will be unbelievable developments that may even see driverless tractors, and that won't be far away.
We're getting that close.
I think we are, yes. There's so much technology now in tractor with GPS and their ability. The driver basically now is just there to lift and lower, turn the truck around and put it back on line again, and away it goes. Yeah.
Because my understanding is they'll even change up and down gears on their own.
Yep. All that technology is now in tractors. Yeah.
And Bruce, when you look at the Land's Bulldogs and these other tractors that are around, the old blue case, a green case, I should say. I mean, that's in a lifetime.
You mean? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. From those tractors in the 20s, 30s. It's moved forward at a great speed.
I mean, my mother was born in 1916.
Right. Yeah. She would actually understand what we're talking about. Some of the stuff today, me included, I don't grasp that good.
So, it's interesting that we're still developing.
As I say, it's even travelling fast. Development is travelling faster now than than what it has in the last 10.
Amazing. Anyway, people are now expecting this sort of technology.
Oh, absolutely. And when it first arrived, I thought it was for Australia or America, but no, it's definitely here. It's in New Zealand, and as it gets upgraded, people are following. They're following into the new technology.
And as we're talking, a traction engine goes past. I mean, everything's here at the Leeston Country Fair, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And aren't they wonderful?
They're fabulous.
There's some beautiful.
So 150 years for the district, but nearly 100 years for you as a family here with your service station.
Yes, we are indeed. Actually, we started in Ellesmere in 1917 as a grandfather as a blacksmith. Then continued, my father continued here in 1935, took over an existing service station in 1935 here in Leaston.
And you took over from him?
I took over from him, yes, that's dead right too. Yeah.
1917, you would have seen the start of service stations, or petrol stations as they were known then.
That is right too. We we had 7 on site in Leaston here. A lot of them were just on the side of the roads, but later on they've been more built to a service station like we are today.
So when your granddad started, it wouldn't have been even pumps in those days initially?
That is right too, actually. Granddad started as a blacksmith. Then when the petrol came along, he used to sell in 4-gallon tins for the
motorbikes.
Motorbikes, that's dead right. And then we had the first, we can claim the first hand pump in Ellesmere. Right.
And that would have been hard work because you had to fill the cylinders and then drain them off.
That's dead right, Robert. It is indeed very hard work. A bit easier today.
It's amazing what your generations, and I say your 3 generations, have come through. I mean, from the very beginning to Bruce Russell filling up a Thunderbird, and that's got to be good for the margins this week.
Very good indeed. Actually, rub my hands at that one, that's for sure.
And of course, we're a bit complicated now because you've got different types of fuel and diesel and things as well.
That is right too. We carry the 2 products, 91 and 95, and also diesel. That's dead right, which is the modern day cars use.
And of course you're also tyres, and they've changed a lot in nearly 100 years.
Yes, they have indeed. Actually, yes, we've gone from, we're now a Bridgestone tyre centre, which has been great for us. Yes, we've seen the change in small tyres up to the large 20-inch now. We're putting on 20-inch tyres now, which are quite huge.
And it's for motoring people, this is a huge weekend for Leaston, isn't it?
It's a very huge weekend for Leaston, it is indeed.
Speaking of Land's Bulldogs, there's a bit of a record attempt here to beat Winchester's 33 collection.
Yes, I was talking to Gavin Miller, and he was the instigator of today. He put the word out, and for any enthusiasts or collectors to participate in today, and he got a pretty good turnout. But I'm quite sure there'll probably just as many bulldogs still be on farms around about. You know, there was a lot made, and there'll be a lot still in sheds.
Rough count, there's about 60 or more here.
Yeah, well, I would say by the end of the day there'll be some coming in for tomorrow's event, so there'll probably be about 70, I would say.
Let's talk about the history of the Lands, because it goes back a hell of a long way.
Yes, well, I'm not a technical expert on them, but I would say I've had one that was in the 1920s, a 1530 model. There's 2 here today, the 1530, a very basic tractor, probably one step above horses, but it was economical and it done a lot of work, but it was modern in its day, and they were made right up to about 1954, the Bulldog. Then they merged with John Deere Lands and run for just a few years, probably till the late 50s as John Deere Lands, still the single cylinder, and then they went out of existence. They were old-fashioned, old technology, and John Deere went to multi-engine, multi-piston tractors.
But New Zealand seems to have so many.
Yes, well, I think the popularity, especially in Mid-Canterbury and North Canterbury, they're so economical. They weren't the cheapest tractor, but my word, they were idiot-proof, very economical, and went for many years. They worked all hours of the night and day, and you never shut them off because you have to start them with a blow lamp. It's quite a procedure. So if you stopped at lunchtime, you let the old Bulldog tick over there. It probably used a couple of cups of diesel, but at 9p a gallon, it was the most efficient way to operate it.
Now, we've probably got the most in the world per capita, but you're not allowed to export them now.
No, there's a heritage order on it, and any bulldog that is sold at auction, the auctioneers make it very clear that you've got to satisfy yourself. If you want to export it, you've got to satisfy yourself and fill out the paperwork. So that's a good thing, and I think this applies with traction engines too. So, yeah.
So let's look at the prices. What will you pay for a bulldog nowadays? They weren't all that expensive a wee while ago.
Well, in the 50s and 60s, they were just farmers were selling out, have a clearing sale, and you'd buy any bulldog for £50 back in the 50s and 60s. They gradually got dearer, and depends on the model. The Model N is very popular, and a good Model N, you can ask $30,000 for it and get $30,000 for it. The models vary a bit. The crawler tractors, I believe, have sold as high as $70,000 for a bulldog crawler. But the electric start ones are a wee bit less valuable. We've got these ones here today, John Deere Lands. You couldn't give them away in the 60s and 70s, but they're popular too. But they're sort of standalone a wee bit. They're limited and they're popular too. But certainly a good investment if you own a bulldog. And a bulldog's sort of got a heart, you know, and people get very affectionate towards a bulldog. It's a love affair with a bulldog, and
very distinctive sound.
Yeah, a bit like the Model T, I'd say. It's it's the Model T of the tractor world, I'd say, and the Model A of the tractor world. Yeah.
So the organisers thought it would be a jolly good idea to have a cold start contest. Now, the situation is dead simple. What you have to do is you've got a blowtorch that comes with the tractor. You put either white fluid in there, as in fuel, or kerosene. You light that. You then put that underneath the bowl at the front of the tractor to heat that up. And once that gets so hot that it's going to vaporise a cup full of diesel, you turn the wee tap on and a cup full of diesel goes in, and that is enough, hopefully, to start it. Most of them, you take the steering wheel off, and that helps you turn the flywheel, which is like a crank handle on an old Model A. Once it fires, you then open up the valves to get a whole lot of diesel into the cylinders, and you've got to get it so that not too much and not too little goes in, and then it's a quick dash around to the main throttle to adjust to that to make sure that you've got the revs right. And then, of course, you've got to put the blowtorch away and put the steering wheel back on before you can move off. Normal time would be probably anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on how cold the morning was. And of course, when these tractors were being tractors, you didn't have winter diesel and summer diesel. So on a cold day, it took a lot more to get it started. You needed a lot of strength and a lot of patience to get your Lands Bulldog to start.
Lands Bulldog owners are nothing if not inventive. This bulldog's no longer on the road, but it's been to more places and never been more popular, and now it's a barbecue.
While electric cars are becoming the focus, really, is the modern car, this is a 1919 version, so it's not new, it's an idea.
Definitely not new technology. It was one of the early technologies in the city back at that time. This vehicle being bought by the Christchurch MED back at that. This vehicle has had the one owner all its life through the massification of companies. Back in those days, the MED used to generate electricity through a rubbish destructor, and I understand there was something like 200 vehicles, electric vehicles in Christchurch at the time. They used to go to the MED at night to get charged up. So they could be used again in the city, and like bread vans, even a doctor had a car. and lots of delivery service type vehicles were there. The MED had trucks with towers on for fixing lights, and general trucks like this is just a general truck for carting gear around the city. And yeah, it was modern technology then and still today.
It's amazing because that whole era just stopped.
Did. I don't know why. I suppose the petrol took over. It was faster. You could just go and buy it in a 4-gallon tin. You didn't have to take it somewhere to get charged up every night, and you could carry a spare bit of power with you in your 4-gallon tin where you couldn't carry any spare batteries.
Now this dear truck, 1919 it was built, solid tyres.
Yes.
What's it like to drive?
It's pretty bumpy. The springs don't seem to have much effect on the drive, and the steering's very heavy. It's very heavy steering, very direct.
Well, Orion owns it now.
Yes.
And it's sitting in the middle of the city. Would it take you a while to get to Leaston?
No, not too bad at all, because it was on a transporter.
Oh, well, that's all right. I was thinking, you poor man.
No, I don't think we would have got here. It's too far.
So how long would a set of batteries last?
At the moment, it's unknown because it doesn't get the use, so the full batteries we don't. It's good for a weekend here, put it that way, yeah.
And obviously there's no such thing as an alternator to recharge them whilst you go.
No, we had it in the parade last night, so I pulled it up to a plug and charged the batteries up again for today, and I'll do that again tonight, so it was fully charged again for tomorrow, just to make sure.
It is in beautiful order. Somebody has obviously put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yes, it was done some time ago by the staff of MED, and consequently later with the staff of South Power and Orion, and there's a guy at work, Neville Digby, it's his little baby really, and he puts a lot of time into it here.
And you're allowed to drive his baby?
Yes, he lets me drive. He's away this weekend. Second time I've driven it, and it's a privilege to be able to do it.
Sam, traction engines. You've got a big collection here today.
Well, there's a few here today, Rob, yeah, all over the country, all over the world. These two here, this one in front of me. Quo Vadis, it's a special scenic barrel showman's engine. Lent to us by a guy, Robert Coles from Dorset in England. Very kindly here for a couple of years. And it's quite a special one really, there's only a few of these in the world. It's sort of the best really, as biased as we are.
It looks as though it was used as a sort of a sideshow carnival type thing.
It's got all the pretty stuff on it, the brass, shiny, generator on the front, provide the power for the showground, for the fairground rides in England, and they still do today in England.
There's a lot of brass to be cleaned, a lot of paintwork to be washed and cleaned.
About 3 or 4 hours each morning, yeah. It's a big job.
Now, you're third generation that I know of as far as traction engines are concerned. It's a family thing.
Yeah, we've still got the traction engine. My grandfather left school to drive when he was 12.
That makes you 4 generations then. Oh, no, 3 generations.
And his father was a traction engine man as well. So 4th generation, yeah.
4th generation.
Yep.
And some of the other ones that are around, I mean, these came from UK. There quite a few were based here in New Zealand from new.
Oh, all of these ones you see here today came straight from the factory when they were new. But these here are showman's engines. None of these ever come to New Zealand. Not enough population to warrant the sphere.
How do our numbers in New Zealand compare to overseas?
A lot smaller. In England, I don't know. Some rallies they can have 300 to 400. But the biggest rally we've ever had here was 80 traction engines in one place at one time. I think we've got about 16 here today, which is a good turnout for New Zealand.
How do you keep them running? Because bits must wear out.
They do. Like any moving parts, they wear out. For about 2 hours, it's probably about half an hour's maintenance. But you just got to make it yourself and make do, because you can't buy parts for them.
They did everything, these machines.
Could do everything. Yep. Saw timber, pull trees, thresh the wheat, everything. Yep.
And isn't it amazing, Sam? You probably don't really see it the same as I do, but the fact that they're in such amazing condition.
Yeah, well, it's a testament to the people that own them, and it's a bit of a passion for some people. And yeah.
So how do you get them, say, from here to wherever you live, back to McLean's Island on the road?
On the road, yeah. We try and stay out of the traffic as much as possible. But yeah, we get along on the road about 20 kilometres an hour, I suppose.
And most of you pull your homes behind you.
Yeah. That's a big part of it. Is the accommodation. Yep.
That's the accommodation. And,
yep.
And how far would you go in a day?
3 weeks ago we went from my place on Tram Road in Clarkville to Methven, and that was 70 miles, and that was a big day. Yep.
And then of course you just collapse into with a bit of refreshment.
A bit of refreshment there, yeah. Always a wee bit dry. Quite warm up there, you know.
It would be very warm up there, I think.
Yeah.
And how do you keep the coal up to them and things?
Just shoveling coal. This one here, going through to Methven, I suppose, probably shoveled over a tonne of coal in the day. Yep, but that's what you do.
You don't have to go to a gymnasium?
No, never been to a gym in my life.
So there you are, that's just some of the fun at the Leaston Country Fair, celebrating 150 years of the district, and we could be doing, well, thank goodness it's a 2-day event, because there's been so much to see. Lots of noise, lots of wonderful smoke and drama, and the characters. I think it's the characters that really make any show such as this, and there's a huge collection of them here at the fair.